still got a good copy on you. It just all depends if you blend with the sideband or not. So, you know, but some people that I couldn't hear at the beginning, like Chris, I was able to hear him on this last transmission. So he's came up a little bit. So Dan's improving. It's just, you know, back east that's kind of making everything a little complicated. So, all right, well, back over to you there, Ron. KD6VWS, this is KM6QQU.
KD6VWS. Yeah, I'm still copying you, okay? Not as strong as earlier, but still Q5, so yeah, I got a QSP plus QRN, so, you know, sometimes I might go into a phone and somebody ain't hearing you, and vice versa, but they generally come back up.
Always good to hear you. Goodbye to the have a good evening, everybody.
Monday night AMI early list, please come down.
KD6VWS, signal anybody Ron, K6 right, it's up and down, two-way.
Yeah, I copied you good that time, Skip, go ahead.
It's going to be a pretty rough evening for anybody who's NCS. Good luck, K6LGL.
Yeah, signals are up and down. It may be a little improved and maybe not worse, but I got KFS if I need it. So, do we have anybody out there who wants to get on the early AMI?
No, it's a very strong southern loss here too, so that doesn't help any.
KF6SYD.
Found all my cockpit problems. NA7RH. Can you hear me there, Ron? NA7RH.
Yeah, Bob. I got you and I got Steve, so.
But anyway, I started messing with your phone. But anyway, 7-3. Okay, yeah, it's a learning curve. I'm smart. I am so poor. Let me see if I can change that anyway.
Well, let me just turn it over to you, Steve, and then you can turn it over to NA7RH Bob. Go ahead, Steve.
All right, Ron. Oh, it's good to be up here. Just got up here. Had a visit from the well, we got cable internet, Spectrum cable internet, and that's who I think that I got the interference from here. It's that modem sound and all that digital stuff that makes me where I can't hear. And he's saying that the squirrels chew up all the lines on the pole, so I have high hopes. He says he's got to come back when it's daylight so he can see. He's going to go up on the poles and replace a bunch of lines, and I got my fingers crossed that maybe when he's done I'll be back to my nice S6 noise level so I can hear everybody again on the local receiver. That sure will be good. I'm listening on KFS now because of that, and because I don't guess the band's too good. Anyhow, Ron, thanks for making the list and putting me on it, and I'll turn it over to Bob. NA7RH, Bob, take one and turn it back over to Ron. KF6SYD.
Okay, KF6SYD, NA7RH. I'm fooling with new to me anyway, microscope here for, I think what the basic swap over the weekend, so holding my discontinuous attention here. KD6VWS, Ron and Joshua Tree, I'm copying you just fine, and of course I'm copying Steve, no problem at all. and I'm just, I can get this thing fixed up to display the receiver IF, but I don't have it that. It didn't take long at all to get it to do the trapezoid and the envelope of the transmit, because I already had the proper connections in the back of my module. I was hearing Chris, no problem, and everyone's coming in quite nicely this evening, so I guess that's about it for this go-round. KD6VWS, NA7RH.
Okay, Bob. Yeah, you're blasting in here, sounding good. Yeah, okay on the monitor scope. Yeah, I've got one channel of my scope hooked up to the mixer on the receiver, and the other channel I've got hooked up to a discone antenna to pick up my signals. I can see it all. But I don't have it hooked up for trapezoid, but what the heck. I'm okay with this. And Steve, yeah, you're coming in good. Fading a little bit, and I've got KFS on if I need it, but I haven't had to use it so far. So, if anybody else wanting to get on the earlies, maybe George, maybe you're out there listening, W6YEC. So, anybody wants to get on the earlies, come now, KD6VWS.
NY6L Hesperia.
And turn down this volume on KFS. Sounds like I've got a signal up there. And have it on just in case we need it. Tonight we're on the biking adventure with the SP200. It's about 160 watts of peak audio. Anyway, back to you, Ron. We'll pick it up there a little bit before 7 and get that list from it. Sounds like it's developing. KF6SYB in there. Heard you loud and clear. Boy, that'll be so good to get that stuff cleared up. And I was thinking about you. We need to get a schedule in. Back to you, Ron, W6YEC.
Okay, George, and W8 Victor Golf, I've got you, George. Why don't you make a transmission and send it back to me. W8 Victor Golf, 86VWS.
Oh, okay, thanks, Ron. KD6VWS. W8 Victor Golf, good evening, everybody. I just got in here. I was down on 160. Hello to George in Lemon Grove. Nice, strong signal in there also, and copying you well, Ron. I'm on the usual stuff here tonight. We just had 2 solid days of rain, and today was our first sunny day, so well, we needed the rain, but things are looking up. I like the sun. Anyways, don't really have too much going on here other than that same old humdrum affair. Ron, I haven't been riding my bike or anything. The only exercise I get is walking the dog. Anyways, put me on the list. We'll hang around. I think I'm hearing everybody here so far, and hopefully we got a good band. KD6VWS, W8VG.
Hey, George, you hear me? Okay, I heard you in there, Chris. Yeah, okay, George. We haven't got any rain here.
You're sure starting to sound like a George. K6LVL.
So, yeah, you're sounding good. So, you are once. And, W6YEC, did you hear Chris? He was calling you. Go ahead.
Could someone check in WA9JIB?
Okay, let me get you on the list, Bob. All right, a little bit weak, but how are you copying, Bob? WA9JIB, KD6BWS.
KD6BWS and the group WA9JIB. Ron, I can barely hear you. I hear George in San Diego moderately, nowhere near where he's usually at. But George, Victor Golf, he's booming in. So, you know, in his direction, at his distance, it's perfect skip. But I'm skipping right over you and mostly over. So I'll give it a go because I do hear some signals. So George, I think in San Diego is going to be host for the net tonight, and I can hear him, and maybe he can hear me. I figured that's worth giving it a shot. I did hear NA7RH in there also, so I don't know who else is on. Anyway, Ron, hopefully you're copying me better than I'm copying you. Back to you, KET6VWS, WA9JIB.
Okay, Bob. Yeah, I'm copying on my receiver, but you're a lot better on KFX, so copying you good there. So I don't know if you have location or not, but I am copying you on my receiver. But I kicked on KFS to hear you a lot better. W6YEC. Are you ready to take the list, George? KD6VWS?
Ron, I am ready. W6YEC.
Okay, here we go then. Yeah, you're coming in good, so hopefully you're hearing me loud and clear. Okay, first on the list is K6CJA Ken at Hesperia. K6CJA. And then we have KM6QQU. KM6QQU. Then you can pencil me in, KD6BWS. Then we have KI6CSA, Chris. KI6CSA. Then we have Vaughn, K6ZTA, Vaughn. K6ZTA. Then we've got K6LPR, K6 Little Green Light. Then we've got M6WHK, M6WHK. Then we have WA6JUS, John, WA6JUS. Then we have KF6SYD, Steve. KF6SYD. W8VG, George. Whiskey 8, Victor Golf, George. Okay, we've got WA9JIB, WA9JIB. And that's the list as I have it, George. W6YC, KD6VWS.
Okay, very good. Good job. Got it all down. So we'll get this net underway. Everybody's down there pretty good. Yeah, I talked to Chris on the phone tonight, and that was good. And then talked to Vaughn on 3895 or 93 earlier this afternoon. And Dale on 220. Throughout the day. Alright, let's see what we can do. I'm running low power. Compared to what I usually run. I think we're idling at about 80 watts. And keeping up to 160 watts, something like that. Maybe it's 40 watts that we're idling at. So, that is interesting how much money is around. Okay, let me do the preamble. and see what goes on here this evening. QFE. Monday night. AMI. Amplitude Modulation International. The purpose of this net is to promote the preservation and enjoyment of AM transmitters. Anyone using AM equipment is invited to check in, and we all welcome all the listeners. You do not need to be a member of AMI to join this net. However, as a member of this prestigious organization, you will receive a certificate and your own personal ID number. If you would like to become a member, you can join by sending just $3 to AM International, CW1I, that's Dale Gagnon, G-A-G-O-N, Gagnon, and his address is B-O-W, New Hampshire, 03304. Our self-addressed envelope is always suggested. Your AMI net control tonight is W6YEC. My name is George, and my AMI number is 1197. I think 1775 or something like that's the last one I've heard of, so that's where we've come to. I live in Lemon Grove, and the equipment tonight, I briefly mentioned, is the Viking Adventurer. It's the novice transmitter in the 50s that John could put out, chip form, and a lot of the young people had thought it was building a Johnson adventure and getting on CW. And then they put a socket in the back so you could plug a screen modulator into it. And they had a screen modulator available in those days. But I just took the schematic and made my own here. So I got a little box here with a D104 plugged into it. And that little transmitter, the 807, not putting out a lot of power, is driving a Sugar Baker 200 amplifier. So that allows the amp to handle about 40 watts, and then our peak speeds up to about 160 watts. So that's the layout. Tonight our receiver is an RME 4350, my boyhood dream receiver, and it's working fantastic. And hearing everybody well on it. So our president antenna correctional platform up about 40 feet or so. Okay. Also, we have a website, westcoastami.com. Westcoastami.com. A lot of pictures on there, barbecues, get-togethers, radios, and what have you. And when I call you, please give your name, and AMI number, the make, model of your equipment. If you have any buy or sell items, please list them at that time. Please let me know if you want to stay for the informal roundtable immediately following the net. And so I want to ask you to zero B this station with system controlled, fairly close to 4870. And if you got a crystal, then you're going to be right in there. Now let's take time for a 1-minute tune-up, and be sure to give your call sometime during the tune-up procedure. W6YEC.
Tuning up on 3870 and standing by for the net.
KF6SYD.
Goodbye, the bay.
Okay, very good. Nice copy on some of the guys tuning up. Big heterodynes and all of that. Jay, I heard you in there, I believe, NYCXL. I have you on the list. Is that correct?
That is correct, to get some of the caboose.
Yeah, the caboose that you were coming through, breaking through, everybody. Okay. Let's get started. And we have of the list here who was kicking this thing off years ago. I remember when I first got on in the 90s, I think it was, something like that. And Ken and a few of the other guys were that control. Got this whole thing really started. Ken is there, K6CJA, W6Y.
Yeah, I think I'm here, George, W6YEC in the group K6CJA in the high desert. Very good. Yeah. So, anyway, I think conditions have settled down a little bit. Yeah, the name here is Ken. I'm in Hesperia by the high desert. AMI number is 993, I think, 993. And I'm on my homebrew 813 rig, as usual, for this Monday night. And I call in 7584 receiver. The microphone is a British commercial mic. Okay, I have nothing, I won't stay. I'll listen for a while. W6YEC, K6CJ8.
Okay, Ken, real good. Copy here tonight. Excellent. SD13 just keeps percolating along, doesn't it? My favorite too. In fact, I have a picture of it on my QSL card. The 813 and the T. Okay, Mike, are you out there? KM6 22M? No, is that right? 22M? Or is it the I can't imagine. Comes into my mind. Go ahead, Mike. Straighten me out. W6YE.
All right, George, W6YEC, this is KM6QU. This is Mike out in Yucca Valley. AMI number is 1768, and I run the Johnson Valiant tonight, and receiving on the SX28, using the Turner Plus 3 microphone. I have the full-wave loop antenna being tuned in by the SA2060A heat antenna tuner. And knowing the round table, knowing the swap, but I will be listening through. So back over to you there, George. Good to hear you out there. W6YEC, this is KM6QQ.
Yeah, okay, real good, Mike. I must have been, when I was writing along, I was thinking ahead, and I put M down for your name. And anyway, I knew that wasn't right, so I did have it right. Thanks for confirming it. All right, very good. You have a good evening, and over to you there, Ron. Thanks for taking the early. The signal has come up and sounding pretty good.
All right, George. W6YEC, K6DWS. Wow, adventure is sounding good. Sometimes you throw a flip down, but right now you're just wall to wall in here, so that drilled the old office rig sounding good there. And anyway, it's 86 DWS, we're on in Joshua Tree, and tonight I'm running the Valiant, and putting out a 150-watt carrier, and Turner Plus 3 microphone, and something on the MC825. I have KFS on this muted. It's on standby on the BC348. So, but anyway, got a 10 multiplier hooked up to the 125. That helps. And now that's going up to the 2040, the SA2040 heat Turner, and coax to the in-bed long wire, about 25 feet, about 5 watts wave long on this frequency, and I'm going to roll the counterpoise, and AMI number 1671, and all righty then, sounding good, George, so we'll sit back, no on the round table, but I will be listening through, so back to you, George. W6YEC, KB6VWS.
Yeah, okay, Ron, thank you very much. Appreciate all you do. Yeah, I was sitting here thinking as you were making comment on biking adventure and a screen modulator. Who would have thought of such a thing? Anyway, it sure does make it fun. All right. Hey, Chris, welcome back. Good to hear you're in there. I didn't hear you yet, but I'm sure I will. KI6 CSI, W6YC.
Anyways, this was KI6CSA. We're located in Bay Park. AMI number 1764. How do you like that? I'm not too late number here. And we're running Memorial Case in Charlie. Memorial Case. Special. I think AWR handbook. That's what you get. And we love it. It's beautiful with the homebrew modulator and the equivalent SX17 all-tractor receiver. D104, and we got it hooked up to SX200, and it was about, like George, it's about 160 watt carrier, and inverted V about 30 feet in the air with a power monitor on 21 pounds. So, like I said, conditions are better. Ron, you were coming up, and we're hearing everybody pretty good. But so far around it, take your call. And I'm always asking, I'm always trying to see if George can hear me. So when it's your turn, George, if you can hear me, KI6CSA in Bay Park, let me know. I'm curious if Joel's really loud over here, and I would try to get back to you if I can hear me. So I want to see if you can hear me tonight. So anyway, going around here, go on the swap, and I'll be listening out. We have a good one. And maybe we'll jump back on here on Wednesday. I have been on a lot, so we're blowing out the cobwebs. Now, back to my good friend, Echo Charlie, Kilo India 6, Charlie Sierra Alpha.
Okay, very good question, W6YEC. Yeah, the band's moving around a little bit. I dropped down, but it brought you up on KFS. You're very nice. Take a look at KFS. Yeah, again, vintage. I'm just sitting here thinking about Charlie building that transmitter in 1964 in the 62 handbook. He was in high school, and he would have never thought, never imagined. He didn't even have a license yet, and that didn't happen until some years later, and then he put that radio on the air. But he would have never imagined that in 2022, December of 2022, his Memorial Station, as it is now, would be on the air, that transmitter, and of course the matching receiver, you've got that, not the matching, but the receiver he had. Anyway, that transmitter would be on the air, so it's pretty fascinating and exciting when you think about it, all these years later. All right, with that, K6ZTA on. Okay, just check out your amplifier there. Nice to talk to you this afternoon. K6ZTA, W6YEC.
Yeah, W6YEC, K6ZTA. Yeah, thanks. George, thank you. Yes, we're just having trouble listening to people tonight. This band has been up and down, and right now you're loud here at this moment. But just before that, before you talked to Chris, it was like terrible. The signal levels were terrible. And I haven't had a chance to play with the SB220 yet, but I will here probably in the next day or so, and do a couple of those diagnostic things that we talked about, and I thank you for that. Yeah, the handle here is Vaughn, Victor Oscar November in Woodland Hills, AMI number 1757, using a Viking 2, and going through an antenna tuner, the 2060 antenna tuner up to an inverted V, and the microphone is a D104, and the receiver is the Hallicrafters S53A, and we're using a Heathkit Q multiplier with it right now, and that makes it pretty impressive. That's actually better than what I can receive right now on the SX96. I was just comparing the two. The S53 with the Q multiplier is doing better. So anyway, enough of that. No on the swap, no on the round table. Thank you, George, for taking it, and Ron, thank you for taking the earlies. And it's a struggle, but we're just going to continue to go with the flow here. W6YEC, K6ZTA. Thank you.
Who was that? Somebody checking in? Well, that station, pretty distorted or off frequency or something, I'm not sure. I just tried to tune you in, but maybe somebody else had a copy on that station.
Yeah, it's KL70F, George, Steve.
Steve in Arizona.
Well, now it's clear. KL70F. Hey, Steve. Welcome back to this part of the hemisphere. Anyway, got you on the list. You're going to follow Jay. Oh, that was loud and clear that time. I don't know what the deal was. Maybe you were in a little off frequency and I didn't have a chance to get the thing in. Thanks for checking in, man. Good to hear you. Alrighty. Next on the list is K6LGL. Go ahead, Skip.
Okay, thank you there, George. W6YEC and San Diego, West Coast AMI net, K6LGL. Hey, and welcome back, KL70F. And this is Skip in Santa Monica, K6 Little Green Light. I'm on my Heathkit Benton Harbor fully calculated lunchbox, which is known as the DX100. About 110 watts output, and to somewhat refurbished D104 and the Honda W104. Yeah, what you hear is Steve. Nice signal there, KL70F. Welcome back. And also George was from Royal Valley, very strong in here. Signals are a little bit up and down, George, as you probably gathered. At times you disappear, and at times you're S9. So yeah, I was about a 450 unit QSB on some signals, so it makes it a little rough. So, nothing to swap, and I don't know about the round table. We'll see. My EMI number is 1326, 13 and 213s there, 1326. So, back to you and good luck. Let's hope the road improves as you go along. W6, YEC. K6LGL.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad. It's up and down. The signals are up and down. But I'm hearing you well there, Skip. Solid copy. You were coming through on KFS as well. I was listening over the air. All right. Well, very good. We'll call a couple more and then we'll take a break and see if somebody else is out there. Let's bring it back down here to La Mesa. Phil, take it away. M6WHK, W6YEC.
W6YEC and 6WHK. Oh, fine business. I'm copying everybody through the radio and also through KFS. I've got it on this to make sure. And AMI number is 1661. We're running the normal equipment tonight. Johnson Viking Ranger, Hammer 1H Q110. L4B. I got 2 tubes glowing, so I'm happy with that. Running about 200 watts, plus or minus, on a A-shaped loop, a triangle kind of shaped loop, about 250 feet. So that's operating here at this WHK QTH. With that, I'm going to turn it back to W6AM. No, we're not doing that anymore. W6YEC. And I won't be on the round table, but I will listen now. M6WHK. Okay, very good, Phil. Good signal. Boy, the Ranger sounds wonderful tonight. Doing great. I was sitting there as you were talking, looking at my receiver, my RME, thinking that it was 64 years ago that my dad took me to the half flat here in San Diego up on El Cajon Boulevard. And I walked in, went down an aisle, and this is the receiver I saw, not this particular one, but one like it. And that was the receiver I wanted. But I didn't have enough money, my paper route money. But 1958, so 64 years ago. Wow. Well, we're into the bridge. All right. Let's get it over to John, who's sounding pretty good on that big Mamu radio. WA6JUS. Take it away, John. W6YC.
This is George, W6YSC, John. Farmer Kearney Mesa. Sure enough, on the big Mamu. 4-250s, throttled back to 100 watts out, and E-tron modulated, that is supposedly capable of delivering 750 watts of audio power, and it does have a little shy of 4,000 volts on the place, so Mr. Gaming built himself a hefty rig, but it sounds good at this low volume. So, we had a busy, happy weekend. Lots going on at the yacht club and at beaches and at private parties. So I'm hanging in there. And the Galaxy 300 has made its mark and has made me feel good amongst the people who I should want to be a part of. And so it is. So there's hope for the old goat. And I'd like to be on the net. Okay, the number is 1258. W6YEC WA6JUS.
Okay, John. Very good. W6YEC. Excellent. Sounding beautiful. I put you down for the round table. I wouldn't add, I have mentioned it. Nobody's mentioned anything yet, but maybe some of the guys around. Bob's in there, and maybe he will. So we'll see what happens. Okay, let's keep this thing rolling. Up to Long Beach. KF6SYD. Take it away. W6YD.
Sorry, George. Sure, I'm enjoying sitting back and listening to you run the net, hosting the net. That's what you're doing, and you're doing a wonderful job. Thank you for doing this. And okay, let's do the regular stuff. Steve, KF6SYD in Long Beach, AMI 1708, CCA AM 1000D transmitter, listening on a what is it, SB 600, and see, inverted V at 70 feet, AKG microphone. This guy from Charter Cable did some things here in the shack. He capped off they had two lines running in, because this used to be a dual cable system, and he capped one off, it shorted it, and brought me from a S9 noise level down to S7.5, and I can hear you guys on the receiver. It's not real good yet, because it should be S6, when it's all gone, but you can listen on the receivers and hear people now, which is tremendous. So I heard Chris, KI6CSA. I just set back a little in with your voice, but I had no trouble understanding everything you said here in Long Beach. And turned off the speakers on the computer, and I've heard Vaughn. It would just the band wasn't good between Vaughn and I couldn't hear him at all, so I listened on KFS. But everybody else since Chris, I've been listening to on the SB600. So I've really enjoyed this a lot. And what else is going on around here? Not a whole lot. Everybody's doing fine here. Sure is good to hear everybody. And no roundtables for me tonight. And George, I'll turn it back over to you. W6YEC, KF6SYD.
Okay, Steve, real good. W6YEC. Wow, you sure are pounding in. 2 of 3, that's the close man tonight, but very, very strong signals and really good on the troubleshooting. Sounds like you got somebody who knows what they're doing. Let's hope they get that other S unit. That'll be great. Maybe even more. Who knows? We might go to 44. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you had a S4 or S5? Anyway, we'll look forward to hearing that. Send me a text, see what the schedule looks like. Possibility tomorrow after vintage, or Thursday, but whatever. Anyhow, good to have you in there. Let me take a break. Is there anybody else working out there that would like to get on the list? Come now, W6YEC. Okay. As they say, all quiet on the front. Well, let's continue to move along here and get over to Bob, another Sweet Tooth special. And it always fascinates me, Bob, on that receiver, that they're using the smaller night kit receiver, but it seems to do a really good job for you. NA7RH, W6YEC.
Okay, George, W6YEC in the net, NA7RH. Yes, I have been that kit. I got that good one on it. It's doing a nice job. I need to this speaker. I changed over to speakers. That's so high fidelity and it's not. So I need to get back to some real engine music phone with my kit. But other than that, everything is going along fine. I was just looking at the 1964 AWRO handbook, and yes, it does have both the modulator and this transmitter in it. And but I built it in 63, I think, late 62. So I had an earlier version of the handbook, but I don't have that anymore. I think it just completely fell apart. Being rolled and red, and so. But I remember I think it was a 61. Anyway, it was in all those years, and it's fun to think about how long ago that was, and that a 15-year-old could manage to do something like that. Anyway, nice to hear all the signals. I'm hearing everyone 100% so far locally on the old night kit receiver, so this is great. And what else? no on the swap, no on the round table. The equipment, the 60Q5 sweep tube special, the 4 1625s and parallel push-pull modulator, a couple Intron tuners so that I can use this front top dipole right here and also down on the lower end of the band. And an ICOM two IHY box that drives the modulator. And I just acquired this little station monitor at the Mesa Swap over the weekend, and I already learned something from it. I was looking at it, and there was, looking at the trapezoid, there was a little bit of, when I wasn't speaking, the line had a width to it, and it had some modulation. And it turned out that when I used the IHY box, I needed to put a shorting stub in the microphone connection of the modulator that was somehow picking up 60 cycles. So I don't know if anybody ever noticed it. It looked like it was about 5% modulation on 60 cycles, but that's gone now. Anyway, back to you, George. W6YEC and net NA7RH.
Very good, Bob. Very good. Good copy on you. I was trying to, my audio went out on KFS. Playing a little trick on getting it back. So here you find ignorance on both on KFS. And, of course, over the air. Well, very good. Okay, on the information there on the homebrew and I think you said the manual about fell apart and all that, but you build it, did you say 63 or something, I guess. Anyhow, that was quite a wonderful looking radio. I remember looking up that in the handbook, and you and Charlie did an awesome job on doing that. It was a real what should I say, a real testimony of true amateur radio. Thank you, Bob. Let's up there to Arizona now. Well, it's been raining a little bit. The threshing, I've heard some threshing about rain, but I haven't seen any yet, Bob. I enjoyed.
Really good, George. W6YEC in the net here this evening. This is W8 Victor Golf. George down here in Oro Valley, Arizona, about 10 miles north of downtown Tucson. And, yeah, I'm hearing everybody pretty good, George. The Viking Adventure is doing a screaming job in here into Tucson. And Chris, I don't know why I didn't acknowledge you in the past. Sometimes I'm old and I get distracted or doze off here, but you're making Tucson no sweat. Yeah, you're good solid S9 in here, and I've got the SDR receiver KFS on, but I don't need it tonight. I'm hearing everybody, and the band is not too long. I'm hearing Bob up my neighbor up to the north, nice and strong. So we've got some short skip in here as well. Anyways, George, I love 813s as well. I'm looking at 4 of them here, 2 in the RF deck and 2 in the modulator. Running that again tonight. But listening on my old NRD 515. It's an old JRC wave receiver I bought 40 years ago when I was over in Germany in the service and did a lot of nice shortwave listening back in the day from over there. I took it out of the box, plugged it in, tuned around in my apartment there on 20-meter CW, and heard one of my old buddies back in Ohio calling CQ. I wouldn't answer him. Very frustrating, but it was a nice receiver. Still is. Antenna's an inverted V for 160, I don't know, only up about 40 feet. Fed with ladder line. Let's see, what else? Forgot about it. Oh well, anyways. Doing good. Oh yeah, the rain, George. We got rain. It wasn't cats and dogs. Nice, slow, steady rain here for about 2 days. day before yesterday and yesterday, and got the usual problem that people in Arizona with the flat roofs have. I've got a leak that showed up there in the bathroom, so I got to go up and find it, and might even have to patch some drywall stuff in there. All part of the game down here, you know. We have these dreaded flat roofs. Anyways, thanks so much for running the net. Yeah. That 4350, I got one of those here, George, and I love it. And got it paired up with one of my two Valiants, and there's just something about those half-moon dials there staring at you. Don't have them on tonight, but I understand the love there and the admiration. Yes, sir. No AMI number, nothing to swap or sell, and won't hang around for the round table, but I'll listen here, I'll listen out, and maybe listen for a little bit before I go inside and see what the boss is doing. Was out here on 160 earlier, and so I probably got to go in there and check in. Anyways, thanks so much for running the net. Ron, thank you for picking me up on the earlies. And we'll keep her moving here. Back over to you, George. W6YEC, WVG.
What was that?
Just Dylan. Very good. He's loud at Boston. Scale 70F.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
Okay. You know, you might have something breaking up there because you came back there that time distorted, and then I can copy it the second time. So we'll be getting into you here in just a moment. Let's see what's going on. Anyway, very good, George. Okay, I'm going to have the rain and all that. Yeah, I went back and looked at my phone, and I heard guys on the net today talking about chances of rain on Tuesday and Thursday, but on my phone it says nothing about rain. I see rain up in the San Francisco area, and there was some threatening that it might get down around Long Beach or so, but nothing down this way. So. Okay, thank you so much. I put you down. You said I think you said you're going to stay around for a little bit, so I got you down. And let's go to Bob. WA9JIB, W6YEC.
W6YEC in the group. WA9JIB. Bob, Bravo, Oscar, Bravo here in La Cañada. I always. Beautiful day, kind of cool, little sun, not a lot of wind. The pavement was wet, it rained and drizzled last night, but no rain today. It's supposed to rain again tomorrow, supposedly. So we've been having some pretty good precipitation this year so far. So, you know, maybe the drought will be a thing of the past, hopefully. Anyway, so I'm running my D104 into my Johnson Viking Valiant version 1.0. Gives me about 140 to 150 watts of power in the carrier up to my I feed it with elastic cable. And yeah, the mast is tied off in the trees in the front yard and a fence through a tree in the backyard. So you got to do what you can to squeeze an 80-meter antenna onto a 100 by 100 foot line. But it's been working for a lot of years, so I guess it's okay. The receiver is the Hammerland HQ129 X-ray. It's quite good. Propagation so-so tonight. It's definitely better than it was before 7. And better. Victor Golf, George, got about the best signal in here. But I think I'm pulling everybody in. Chris, KI6CSA coming in stronger than usual. So, strange night. Not great, but just no AMI number, no buy-sell swap. I'll give it a shot on the round table. And it might be changing for the worse at the moment, but I'll give it a shot just to keep John company. Back to you, George. W6YEC, WA9.
Awesome, Bob. Good, solid copy on your little QSB, but solid copy. Didn't miss a word. Valiant sounds wonderful as always. And let's put on I got my old one back. And it's out in the garage. It's
Stop. Turn it off. Problem is my engine for my 52 Chevy, and to get in there and do anything, I really have to pull the Chevy out, and I don't have a transmitter or anything set up out there with it, but that is such a nice receiver. It'll probably find its way to somebody else's home when the right person comes along, but it's come back around to me a couple times, and over the years, that's kind of interesting. So there it is, sitting there. Thanks, Bob, so much. I got you down. Let's pick up Jay up there in Hesperia. Your neighbor was on the early part of the net. How you doing, Jay? NY6L, W6YEC.
Yeah, W6YEC, NY6L, and hello to Ken if he's still listening. Band conditions are changing pretty rapidly up here, so I'm going to be kind of fast here. AMI number 1548, running the Super Senior, roughly about a little over 300 watts. National NC303 on the receive end, D104 on the microphone, and MFJ 3 kilowatt roller inductor tuner, keep the VSWR low, and we got a dipole approximately 80-40 meter dipole, approximately 40 feet up. No bifill or swap. I'll just listen through. It's been a long day for me today, and still recovering from that asthma bronchitis. So I'm just gonna kind of save my voice and so I don't start coughing. So good night, 7-3 to everyone, and I'll just listen through. This is JNY6L in Hesperia, the high desert. We'll be saying 7-3 and good night, everyone.
Okay, Jay, very good. I can hear it in your voice. Been dealing with that cough thing. But anyway, I'm glad you're out here and glad you're able to check in. Rest well. Quick recovery. We'll catch you a little bit later. The rig sounds fine. Well, now finally, we get to Steve, KL70F. What's been going on? Steve, take it away. W6YEC.
Okay, let me see if I can get this thing going without some distortion here. George, W6YEC, KL70F. Well, I'm glad to be back in Arizona. Yes, I am. Glad to hear you guys, too. I got some signal reports for y'all. I appreciate signal reports, and I know you guys do, too. Skip. First off, we'll skip K6LGL on the DX100. I heard you pretty good. Not like I missed it, Skip. Not tonight. The champion of the band is K6CJIA, Kim. He dominates. And, George, you're doing really good. You're like 20 over. What I have found is that here, I'm in Baus, Arizona. KL70F Steve in Baus, Arizona. My winter home. What I have found is that I have an S8 noise level here, and I'm not used to that. You know, I live in Tum Tum and Mackinac, and, there's no noise there, so. But the redeeming factor is all y'all are over 10 over. Everybody's 10 over here. And I'm just listening on the local receiver. This is a highly modified 102 Yaesu and a homebrew 41000, maybe 150 watts to inverted V 32 feet that I just got up. So, I'm here at CAD, TJA, DWS Ron, they're pretty good here. FTA, you were doing fine. I'm jealous of your Q multiplier. Skipper, I wished I could hear you a little better. JUS, I wanted to talk to you about the Yacht Club, John. If I stick around for the round table here, I'll tell you a Yacht Club story. And SYD Steve, boy, you're loud here. It's always good to hear you. I haven't talked to you for quite a while. And Bob, the Night Kid is doing great, man.
You know, you made that thing run in 64. You know, I've always been impressed with the push-pull 1625s. You know, and you and I have been able to work wherever we've been. You know, I've been all over the place, and I can always work Bob. So that's cool. Let's see, George, in Tucson, boy, you are loud here. 50 over on the 0102. So, NY6L, hello. Good to hear you, buddy. We'll talk some more. Oh, Steve in Bouse, Arizona, 25 miles south of Parker. Glad to hear you all on tonight. Glad to be here. I checked in at Tum Tum earlier today. And there's 10 inches of snow. It happened in the last 3 days. My house sitter, who goes through here on her way home from her son's house in Phoenix, stopped by and promised she did with the winter weather report. So I'm glad I'm here. So I'd appreciate a signal report from anybody and everybody that can hear me. So stick around. We can hear each other. Why, I'd like to renew a few contacts here on the round table. Nothing for the swap or anything like that. So back to you, George. You're loud here tonight from San Diego. I remember talking to you on the boat radio. I had a boat radio from, I was in Naknek, Alaska, and I had a radio I took out of a fishing boat. And I hooked that thing up to a 40-meter dipole I had over the roof of the shop I was working in. And my first contact was George. I think we worked several times, George. That was 40 meters. I worked pretty good from that. You know, Naknek was right on the coast there, right on Bristol Bay. I worked up and down that Pacific coast pretty good. Back to you. Can you hear me? W6YEC KL70F. Stephen Bouse.
Who is that? I guess you heard that being 20 over there at Chris's place. He's here in San Diego, overlooking the bay. And I'm on the San Diego. You're 20 over 9, Steve. Sound and audio? Yeah, now I understand. That's why you're a little distortion. Quite FD102. Very good. That's quite a transceiver. If you have any relay problems, that's the key. I know that they have challenges in terms of relays. But, good to hear you. Oh, I remember our contact. Oh, yeah. And you're right. I'm not hearing you. Okay, I'm on a different radio here tonight. It's not on Ranger 20 for the legal limit. I'm on a Viking with a screen modulator, 2104. So around 160 watts of peak. It's a peak meter reading over there on this thing. If you see fluctuation, not QSB, it's the fact that it's screen modulated. And if I take a breath there, then the signal drops off, and the carrier is only about 40 watts. So when it's on, it's up to about 160. That's about all. Well, we're glad you got in Arizona. We'll expect to hear more from you. Signal reports for everybody. I can only imagine the difference in the noise level, no noise level up there in Tum Tum, and we'll give it a 5.8. Well, that's usually going to be here 5 and 8, but most of the time, on this on the Henry Group net in the AM this year. 10 over, 20 over, 30 over. So, no big deal. Anyway, knock you down. Let me take one more break here. If there's anybody else, and then we're going to take the net over to the guys that are informal roundtable, and anybody else that's out there that didn't say yes, so in and be part of it. But everybody else that wants to get on the list, you know, check this net down for this Monday, December the 76 YEP. Okay, I don't hear anybody. Over and turn up the volume on KFS, guys. So much I just and what is it, 1951 here, so we're going to officially close the Monday night net for December 5th, thanking everybody for being here, and we're going to start the informal roundtable. I need to bow out myself. John, according to my check mark, you're going to start this thing, and it sounds like Steve has things to talk to you about. So I'm going to give you, John, and then I have and then after George, I have Bob, KLU, and then I have Steve, KL70. So again,